All right, and we are live. All right, I'm going to call to order a meeting of the North Andover School Committee. Today is Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. We are starting a couple minutes late, some technical issues, but I have 7:03. Before we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, Helen, can you hear us? Can we hear you? Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can. That we wanted to be sure. And Lindsay, can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. All right, perfect. Okay. All right, now let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, if we can. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I would like to just remind people, if they have a cellular device, to try to silence it. And just for the purpose of attendance, because we are virtual, we're going to just kind of go through who is in present and who is remote. So I will just call your name. Ms. Petrowski?
Here.
Ms. Hicks? Mr. Hicks, sorry.
Here.
Ms. Vitsky?
Here.
Okay, and remote, we have Ms. Picard?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Dr. Gilligan, would you like to introduce your team?
We don't have anyone remote tonight, except it looks like we have our student rep Lindsay with us, and I do not see Ethan on there.
Do you know if Ethan's coming, Lindsay?
I have no idea.
Okay, all right. And just who's in the room from the administration? Sorry.
Okay, great. We have Assistant Superintendent Lorene Marks. We have Dr. Mealy, Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations. And Lorene will be introducing our tremendous parent liaisons tonight during the superintendent's update.
Awesome. Welcome.
Maria and Victoria.
Perfect. All right. Public comment. Ms. Picard, I just want to confirm no additional requests for dial-ins, correct?
Correct. No request for dial-in.
Okay. Any public comment in the room? Okay. All right. So we're going to move ahead to consent agenda 3B, which is the NAMS PTAC donation.
3A.
I'm sorry?
3A. You
Did
said
I say
3B,
3B? Oh
yeah.
my God, I'm so excited for the minutes. So 3A, donation from the North Andover Middle School Parent Teacher Advisory Committee, $2,576 for the purchase of plants, flowers, shrubs, trees, and some labor to help design and plant. To do some landscaping around the middle school. I did confirm it had been asked before where the funds came from for the books that were donated that we accepted last week, and this is still from the middle school dance-a-thon. So this is part of a project to beautify the grounds at the middle school and help recognize and thank the teachers after the last 2 years. So
I'll move that the school committee accept a donation valued at $2,576 from the NAMS PTAC for plants and shrubs for the North Andover Middle School.
motion made by Ms. Vitsky, second by Ms. Petrowski. Any discussion?
I would just raise that it says, this is a gift from 2020-2021 school year PTAC for beautification, but I think it didn't happen. So the money's just being distributed now. So this might be pre-dance-thon, but that's great either way.
Okay, I did check with someone on the PTAC, and that's what they told me, so, okay. Any additional comments, discussion, clarification? All right, we'll do a roll call vote, starting virtually. Ms. Picard?
Yes.
Ms. Petrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Ms. Vitsky?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. 5-0. Thank you very much to the North Andover Middle School Parent Teacher Advisory Committee. Okay, we're going to move ahead to 3B, minutes from the meeting on March 31st. Sorry.
I'll move that we accept the minutes as presented in the packet for March 31st, 2022.
Motion made by Ms. Vitsky. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Hicks. All right. Any discussion or corrections, updates regarding the minutes? Hearing none, seeing none, I will we'll move forward to a vote. We'll start virtually. Ms. Picard?
Yes.
Ms. Petrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Ms. Vitsky?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, 5-0. We have minutes from the 31st. Thank you. Okay, Lindsay. We're ahead of schedule, but we're up. You're up.
All right. I'm starting with some good news. The John and Abigail Adams Scholarship Breakfast that happened last Wednesday. Congrats to all of the top senior MCAS performers. I know that was really hard and it was really strange working on it, especially since they were supposed to be taking it as of last year. Also, big congrats to the 2022 Joseph N. Herman Youth Center Scholarship recipients, Ty Mullen, Matt McDevitt, Jocelyn Gov, David Cooperstein, Ellis Layton, Michaela Vincent, Paige Papa, and last but not least, the Youth of the Year, Emma Gouveia. Congratulations to all. The NAS Model UN delegation included a handful of students who achieved awards last week. Every Model UN delegate won an award, and the entire team was named Best Delegation at the conference. Last week, the NAS Choir attended the Micah Festival and won gold for Scholar in Black, silver for Concert and Treble Choir, and just this weekend, the choir won triple gold at World Strides, and the Wind Ensemble and Symphonic Band won silver. Congrats to Justin Smalley for his dedication and work with the band ensembles, and Sarah Durkin with the choir. The Drama Guild presents to us their newest show called All in the Timing that will be held tomorrow until the 15th, so that is Friday. The show starts at 7 p.m. and tickets are $10 at the door. The third quarter at the high school just wrapped up, and it sure is still strange hearing that, considering we just had trimesters last year, and the grading portal will close this Friday. Make sure to pass in all your missing assignments if you have any. And just one last reminder to check out the NAS 22 Futures Instagram page for senior updates. I'll not be reading all the names because there was a huge influx of them. And congrats to the seniors who have committed to colleges already. It's truly amazing, and I wish the best for every single one of them. And aside from April vacation starting next week, which is a reminder, as many tend to forget, that is all that I have.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. We'll see if the committee has any questions for you, if that's okay.
Yep.
We'll keep it virtual. Ms. Picard.
I have no questions, but I guess maybe I'd like to know who those students are that would forget that break is coming up.
That's many of my club members and fellow classmates.
Awesome. Ms. Petrowski.
No questions. Thank you, Lindsay.
Mr. Hicks.
No questions.
No
Ms.
questions.
Vitsky? So I will just say, I don't know if we've seen your post and Ethan's post on NAM's future plans. Is there an announcement coming later this month? Be a breaking tweet?
I won't speak on behalf for Ethan because I don't know what he's up to, but I'm still confused currently.
Okay.
So maybe you'll never hear it. I don't know.
We're having the same conversations in my house too. So good luck. Good luck. All right.
Thank you.
All right. I don't think we have anything else. You're welcome to stay. So great job as always, and enjoy your well-deserved break.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, Dr. Gilligan.
Outstanding. I am going to start with the health report because it is a quick one. So Dr. Mealy, if we could go to that, would be terrific. All right. So as of today, April 12th, as you can look at the numbers, we're at 19. And as you can recall from the last few meetings, we've kind of hovered between as low as 10 a while back. And now we've been hovering between 10 and 20 the last couple meetings. So we're at 19 right now. And so 0 at North Andover High.
That's why I just said 20. It said 21 and 2 at North Andover High.
Oh, I am sorry. I do have a PDF document that wasn't updated live, and Ms. Bozak updates this in live time. All right, so we have 2. So we were at 0 at North Andover High, so I had 19. We're at 21. Thanks, Jim. Right now. As you can see, that dashboard, as you guys know, I say it every week, we hit that spike in January, I think, like most communities, and we've been down now below 20 for some time, or 21 now, a little bit over. And then we have the new cases by week. And then we also have the vaccination rates by school. So we will link this to the agenda if it's not already. And we'll do so as a PDF because I do not like to mess with Nurse Barzak's numbers in her spreadsheet. But that is the health update for today. So if there are any questions, well, that's usually Mr. McDevitt's line.
All right, so we'll just see if there are any questions. Ms. Picard?
I don't have a question. I would observe that we did double this week over what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. So it didn't look like, there was a particular spike at a particular school. So I appreciate having all that breakdown.
Yeah, you could probably argue that there was a little bit of a spike at the ABAC. There were 11 students. Jim, if you want to go back one slide.
Or sergeant.
Sergeant's been at about 2 or 3, right?
Am I looking at the wrong thing?
Unless I'm looking at the,
So the Bradstreet
Oh,
only has
I was
2
looking at
this
the wrong one.
week. Sergeant has 5.
I think last week it was
La-
up. Last week there was a spike.
last week was the spike.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay.
There was it was a higher number. I think it was at 9 at the last meeting at the ABEC. So they're currently off. They're down. And they did see a little uptick in, I think it was a preschool. Some of the half-day kids who come a couple hours. So,
And those are students who are not eligible for vaccination yet as well,
Absolutely.
for a lot of them.
absolutely.
Okay.
So,
Right. Anything else, Ms. Picard?
No.
Ms. Petrowski?
No questions.
Mr. Hicks?
With vacation coming up and people potentially traveling, are there any mitigation strategies that we're thinking of doing? Making test kits available, anything along those lines?
well, everyone has test kits available, so everyone gets 4 a week. I mean, 4 a week. I get 4 a week because, I get 1 or 4, I get a couple kits a month, and then my son does too, so we've been getting those. So, yes, we do have the test kits that we've been giving out, and, folks can use them anytime. It doesn't have to just be, some of the days we recommended when we had the nursing team in or Cheryl in.
Mm-hmm.
So we have those, and then I think it's just really following best practices. It's the mitigation strategy we've used all year long.
Yep.
So, I hope the trend stays the same. We saw a big jump after the winter recess, and then February break was not really as much as we expected by any means. So,
Is the the early morning call line still available?
that's a good question. That really dropped off. So I think we had stopped the early morning call line. I think, if I recall, I think Nurse Barzak may have mentioned that at one of our last meetings, or maybe I had, but we just weren't getting any calls
Right.
anymore. So, folks have been allergy season. I think they've been
Yeah.
checking in, as we evolve and get better at different things. I think that call line was necessary for a lot of folks. Especially when we hit those big numbers in January, and we had it going all year. But I think now,
Yeah.
where the numbers are, they are. I think people are pretty comfortable and have gotten to know their school nurses at their individual schools, and they've called during the day and say, "Hey, I've kept my kid home, but I want to see, is this allergies or is this?"
And if we have test kits available to us, then it kind of takes the guesswork out of
Right.
it. Or
Absolutely.
the need for the call, so
Yep.
that makes sense.
And for a while, they were difficult to find.
Right,
I mean, there
exactly.
was a crazy rush at CVS or
Yeah.
anywhere that had them, so.
Hear about it online, and then everybody would run to it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Other questions, Mr. Hicks?
All set.
Ms. Viti?
No questions.
The only thing I was just going to say is just really to remind people that those test kits are available. And then I think we stopped the daily call number after February break. I think if timing is
Okay.
right, I want to say like a week or 2 after
Okay.
that. Okay. All right.
Yep. So that's the health update. In a second, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Marks, and I'm not going to give the whole story away here, Dr. Mealy, as I sometimes like to do. But we have some I'm just so proud of some of the things we've done and some of the people that are working for us. We have an amazing team, and we're really this past year, as challenging as it's been for 2 years, we've been able to add some positions that we've desperately needed, that we've wanted. They've been part of our long-term plan, and to see them come to fruition and the things that they do, it's been pretty remarkable. So I'll turn it over to Lorene at this time. Ms. Marks.
So thank you for the opportunity to introduce to you our parent liaisons. Given last summer, given the pandemic and COVID and the impact on many of our families, we thought it would be a really good time to put those positions into place. It was something that we had talked about in our long-term budget prior to that, but given everything that was going on, that didn't happen right away. Our parent liaisons, as you will hear, are both bilingual. However, that is not the biggest part of their job. Their job is really the outreach to families and providing that support. We did have translation tools and services in place prior to the parent liaisons coming on as well. So that's something that we've really been trying to put out there, that it's not just about translation. It's about all other sorts of support services that they're able to offer. So I would like to introduce Maria and Victoria, and they'll share a little bit about what they do. Please also be aware during the presentation and any questions you might ask that we have talked about this, and we're very conscious about protecting confidentiality of any family. So we're not going to answer any questions that are too pointed. Okay? All right. So let me introduce Victoria Torres and Maria Brita Ferrillo.
Hi, how are you? I'm Maria. Thank you for the introduction. So as she said, I know they have things put in place in terms of translation services, but now that we're both here, anything that Spanish required, we come to the forefront for any kind of, in terms of general education, to interpret for any kind of meeting, parent-teacher conferences, behavioral issues, whatever that may be, IEP meetings, things like that. And we also have the ability to schedule for any other language that the family may require. In terms of special education, as I said, we do the IEP meetings, and we also follow up on making sure that families sign and return the IEP meetings. Sometimes that's a hassle. For any type of communications that the teachers, nurses, counselors need to forward to the families. Sometimes they don't get any response, whether they're bilingual or not. We interfere because of their lack of time, trying to reach out or even go to the families to get whatever paperwork is needed. Other services, I would say anything that is needed within the district, telling families about the school policies, whatever activities, so what they offer after school, before school, the resources that we can provide. A lot of the non-English speaking families have a hard time with technology. They don't know how to access Power School. So they call us, we try to teach them, so it's not something they do every day or every other week. So they can have their own login and tell them, whether or not the kids have been late or how they're doing with their grades. So that's a big help for them if they're not very knowledgeable in terms of computers. And just try to help out with vaccination clinics, the math academy that the district had for February and is also offering now for April. A lot of families that do not check their emails never responded, so we were able to call every family that had not responded, and we had a great turnout. So I'm happy to be here, and I pass it on to Victoria.
Hello, everyone. I'm Victoria Torres. I'm the other parent liaison. Well, as Maria said, we do interpreting. We deal with families that are non-speaking, any type of families. If we can help, we look for the resources and translation for those families to be helped as well. So what we also do is we help families with, let's name it, medical needs. Support family finding doctors, finding places where their insurance will cover for the doctors. Families sometimes don't know where to go, where to turn out once they are told you need to bring your kid to the doctor because they're sick. So sometimes they don't know if they are proven insurance, sometimes they don't have insurance. So we also help with the insurance to support finding information about the insurance. If they don't have insurance, and they don't know the system, we'll help them apply for insurance. We'll call the places to see if whatever is near to them, we'll take that type of insurance, so we'll accommodate them to be near, something near their home. Sometimes they don't have transportation, so we want to make sure that they are close by any place for a doctor visit, that they're close. Family emergencies that could come any minute, home evictions. There are families who, as we know, there are no apartments around. Sometimes they don't have money. So we help them try to get it with agencies. We have partnered with some agencies that offer down payment assistance. So what we do is we said, okay, here, they might say, I need to move, I don't have money. Hey, there's a program that's offering money for down payment assistance. They will move, they will pay for the move, and they'll pay for everything. So just let's find an apartment. That's the hardest part, to find the apartment right now. It's not much around. We also do utility bills. If they don't have, they say, I can't pay my bill. So we'll look for resources on that and see if there is agencies that might have discounted for bills. So here, let's apply here, you'll get a discount. They might forget your bill, forgiveness. They might do, say, you know what, you'll pay half and we'll help you with the rest. So we try to look for all those things for these families. We also have worked with attendance. We work closely with schools personnel to contact parents and identify the situation at home to be able to determine how to support the family in order for the students to attend school. So we are working on that as well. And we also do that for academics. Provide communication between the school and parents to work together regarding grades and behaviors. So we are in the middle. We call parents if the teachers are saying there is something that's going on that the grades are not the greatest. So we will contact the parents and see, here you can log in, you can see this, you can see the grades, you can see the attendance. Parents don't know, especially if they don't know the language. There is that gap that we try to work and get it together. We partner with community resources, including State Representative Christina Minacucci, Community Outreach Coordinators Deanna Lima and Crystal Clooney, to provide the best support possible to all our families in the district. We also partner with agencies such as Neighbors in Need, Community Giving Tree, Projects Home Again, Greta Lawrence Family Health Center, Greta Lawrence Community Action Council, and other agencies that we can find. I mean, every day we get a new situation, we look for the answer, we research, and then we get more agencies, more places where we can get the support from. And that's what we do.
I don't want to go into details, but it really has been amazing what these women have been able to do to support families. And what they didn't say is they also interact with students and support them. Students contact them to talk about needs, especially in the upper grades. We have some students that are basically on their own, and we have, they offer support to them. We have families that I know that their students would not be attending school without the support and guidance that these women have provided. So again, there's so many awesome stories we could tell, but it really would not be the right thing to do. But they have been just an incredible, incredible addition and support. The principals use them a lot. Guidance counselors use them a lot. Our nurses access them a lot. They will actually go and meet families in specific places, whether it's the home or a medical facility, a bus, whatever it might be. I think, Victoria, you actually saved a kid running away, crossing the road one day inadvertently. She didn't know that was what was going on. But so there's all kinds of situations that they have been involved in. And then just lastly, they are going to now, we are working in the process of getting them set up to take on all of the registration for our students, so that oftentimes we find in Power School parents are not sure how to indicate what their home language is appropriately, or what sort of services might be available. I know when both Greg and I were at Thompson School as principal, we had a new student come in. We would encourage every family to fill out the forms for free and reduced lunch. I think oftentimes families don't think they qualify, and they do. And if they do, that also helps support them in other things that the district could offer as well. So we're going to have all of that centrally located, which I think is also going to be a huge help to a lot of our families. So I am thrilled, and I probably know more of the ins and outs about what they actually do than, the general people, Greg or Jim or anybody. I work with them more specifically, but they have been wonderful and a huge asset. What they didn't do, and I know they're nervous today, so when they started, they were going to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves. I'm going to ask them to do that because I think that is also really interesting. So Maria, would you like to tell a little bit about where you're from and what you did before, and then Victoria as well?
So I was born and raised in Chile. I moved here not by choice when I was a teenager with my parents. My dad actually was here a year prior to us three, my brother and I and my mom, moving here. Very tough at that age to pull you away from all you know, which is your friends, your school. I grew up in an all-girls, very strict uniform Catholic school. I moved and went to Somerville High. Very different culture shock, to say the least. No uniform, my girls' makeup, dressed in very inappropriately from what I thought was appropriate. So it took me a very long time to, I don't know if it's accept the culture, just embrace the culture and the differences. And I'm very stubborn by nature. And I was able to still, and I guess that's to my parents, still follow our culture in terms of family. This is very important to us. Always eating together. My mother was always home. When I grew up in Chile, my dad was the one that worked. Here, she had to work. And I think it changed me in a sense that I know I can work and do anything. I started cleaning offices because I didn't speak English, and I could have never thought of doing that in Chile because my dad made enough, and I just, we had a maid, and then you become that person and you respect so much more. And it's just because you do it, your dad needs to help, and you do it. So from then on, I started to interpret for my parents, their friends, their neighbor, everybody. And I was working as an interpreter with Catholic Charities for over 16 years before moving to this position. I worked with the refugees. I worked with DCF. Towards the last 2 years, I worked with the elderly, which I really enjoyed. And then when this opportunity came, I knew I could do things that I would have liked to have had when I was in 2 years of high school without any English. And there was really nobody that could help my parents, So I loved the position. I love being able to help out. And I understand the fear on the parents and the kids when they come in not speaking a word of English. So I appreciate the opportunity to be able to help out. And here I am.
That's amazing.
Well, as immigrants, we kind of have the same background and the same situations that happened. I was born and raised in Lima, Peru. I arrived to this country when I was 19 years old. Kind of the same situation, pulled out from my friends and my buddies and my family. Same, I came with my parents, went to Northern Nexus for ESL for a couple of years. I studied ESL. After that, I worked around the community, and I worked the last 3 employments I had. It was Greater Lawrence Family Health Center. I worked at the mayor's office, Mayor Fiorentini's office. So I come from there, and my last position was as a parent liaison at Haver Public Schools. And then I saw this opportunity, so here we are.
So you see how lucky we are.
Yeah. Ms. Mark, before they go to questions, I just want to say, the last slide I think is the most powerful to me, where it says, "Together we will bridge any gap." And we know from our students that are traditionally marginalized or have struggles, like we've had to go out to the community and do outreach, and we've done that in different rec centers and different places and different supports. But why I think these guys were the missing piece is that they don't work in isolation. They are now being able to connect, whether it's the director of SEL or it's our attendance officer, Tracy Castiglione, that's going out and doing absences, or whether they're working with one of the school counselors or one of the assistant principals or the nurses on medical. I mean, so I would say there's probably no day that is the same. It's probably a lot like being a high school vice principal, a little bit in the sense of every day is different. You never know. But it is what has brought kind of this together. And the more that we can make folks feel comfortable, more of that I in inclusion, feel respected and develop a rapport, the better we have a chance of kids being successful in school. So I couldn't be more proud to have you guys on the team.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. Can we have some questions? Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. We'll start virtually. Ms. Picard, any questions?
Yeah, I do have a couple questions. First, I really want to thank you. I think Maria, being stubborn can be an excellent asset for an advocate. We used to have a percussion teacher at North Andover High School who taught me the phrase, be the person you needed when you were younger. So thank you for being those. En Victoria, yo era voluntaria con Habitat for Humanity en Camaná, Perú, en el verano en 1990.
Wow.
So
I have no idea what just happened.
I spent an August in Peru in 1990 as a volunteer with Habitat for Humanity. And I built walls with, I didn't say all this, but I built walls with cinder blocks in the desert. So it was a fantastic experience for me. So my first, kind of some comments and some questions. I saw that you listed Christina Minacucci as a state rep. Trom Wynn would also be helpful for students who are on the other side of town. And I'm sure Christina would refer you to Trom if that were needed, but she might have some other resources. I wonder in your list of partner agencies, if there's someplace on the website that we could include that information for families who might not reach out directly to the parent liaisons, but might need some of those services. So we might be able to share that, and perhaps it's already on the website, but I would ask that happen.
So if
I just,
sorry, if
one
I
second.
can respond.
Yeah.
We are thinking of adding all of this information into a pamphlet. Lorraine was talking to us about that. Since we're going to be dealing with registration, we want to do that for all the. Oh, sorry. Do you hear me?
yeah, I could hear you.
Okay. We are thinking of doing all those, list all the resources that we have as we get them in the pamphlet, so the new families would have that from day one. So,
Yeah, I
yes.
think that's excellent. And too, keeping it on the website for families who lose the pamphlet or don't need it until day 7,000.
That would also be helpful for teachers who are looking to help their students and not sure what you offer yet. So, sorry. Just wanna.
And then I want to, I think I know the answer, but I'd just like to hear it from you. You help all families, not just those who speak Spanish, correct? I mean, it's your family liaison for anybody who needs.
I mean, we have the bonus that we speak Spanish. That's a plus, but we help anyone that needs the help.
Terrific. And because you work with the pre-K through the high school, and we kind of heard a little bit that you work with the students at the high school level as well, but do you find that there's one level that you're working with more than the other, or how do you guys divide the work? Does one of you work with older and one with younger, or how does that work?
So that's still a work in progress. We wanted to see, really, they're new. They didn't start until after school started, and they didn't even start on the same day. So it was a while apart as we were hiring them. So we're really, we're kind of creating this as we go, Helen. So as they said, we've talked about the brochure and getting that information on the website. That's part of the work. We are moving both of the liaisons. They have been located here in central office. Victoria is going to move to the middle school, and Maria is moving to Atkinson, so that they'll actually be in school and a little more accessible to some of the places where we see some high need. But that doesn't mean they'll be housed there solely. They move around, they communicate. We have a document we share so we know what families are being seen and who's contacted each one of them, and if if, for example, Marie is working with someone, so I'm just going to use Atkinson as an example because that's where she's going to go, a family that the principal or whoever contacted her about, but Victoria happened to have a call from a high school student that's also in the family, so we're working on all of those pieces of bridging and communication. So it's a process. We're not perfect yet, but we're working on it.
No, we'll never be perfect. We'll always keep working on it. So I appreciate that. And then not specifically for our parent liaisons, but I don't remember hearing about the February Math Academy. So maybe at some point we'll hear more about that. But I think I'm set for now. Thank you.
Awesome. Ms. Petrowski?
So I just have a couple of thoughts and questions. First of all, thank you for all that you do. As an English teacher of newcomers at a high school, I truly appreciate your role. And as you were talking and sharing all the things that you do, I was thinking to myself, is there a team behind you? Because that's a lot and you must be exhausted. So I hope that you get some rest on April break. So one of the, I know we can't ask specific questions, but are we able to ask about how many families we're servicing in general, or per week, or how are we tracking that? Do we need to?
We have that information. I'm not sure that I did not count before tonight,
Okay.
and I'm not sure that they counted before tonight. They are busy.
Yeah,
I will tell you that.
I'm sure they are. So, and I think, Helen, when you had said let's list the resources on the website, I think that's helpful for families, but also for teachers. I know as a teacher of newcomers, I am constantly okay, this one needs this, where do I go? This one needs this, where do I go? What's available? Have you, and because I'm at the high school and this stuff started coming up this year for me, have you noticed our students having a hard time? We want them to feel part of the school community. And one of the things that they can do is join extracurricular activities and sports. But as you know, sometimes getting medical documentation is not easy. So is there a roadblock there? I've had conversations with colleagues about, is there a possibility that we could have physicals on site for students as needed? Because that's been a roadblock for some of my students. They want to play sports, they don't have a current physical, and then they're stuck from trying out for sports. And it's just because they're new to the country and they haven't established this stuff yet, right? And that's a whole other navigating that system, navigating the system, all of those things. So is that something you've come across, or is it something we can put on the agenda or talk about, or?
Yes, actually, I when Lorraine was asking about a story, I'm thinking, oh my God, they're all so sad and depressing. I just can't mention anything that someone may feel oh, she's talking about me.
Sure.
But in terms of the school requires everyone to have a physical and the current vaccination records. When the parents get back to me or even Victoria, it's weeks, 5-6 weeks after, and the child can miss that much school. I've been pretty lucky by calling Haverhill more than Lawrence, the Greater Lawrence Clinic in Haverhill. I think just the fact that I'm calling from a school, they give a little more attention to me than they do to the parent.
For sure.
And I've been able to get same-day appointments or the following day within that week to a lot of the students.
That's fantastic.
Because you can't have the child miss that much school, and they realize that. So it's more effective if we make the phone call than the parents. I had a child that came from Brazil. The middle schools has great, the nurses are awesome. They have a great closet space. And this family came from Brazil on a Wednesday, Thursday. They let me know on Monday that they wanted to register, so we did what we had to do, and the child didn't have a jacket, had no winter gear.
Right.
And the mom's so embarrassed, and I said, okay, let's go. We went with the nurses to the to the room where they have so many great clean jackets. He got enough clothing to last them at least a couple of months.
Yeah.
The mom was able to find something that she could wear.
Yeah.
And the child, who's the one that's always in my head now, said, I want to play soccer, right? So I'm thinking, okay. I looked, it seemed like the registration was closed. I reached out to everyone within the soccer administration for the town. They were wonderful.
Good.
All of them.
Good.
They waived the fee. They opened registration for them so they could enter that. He already had a physical because he needed that for school. and they let him, the coach actually lent him his son's uniform because
So
he couldn't
great.
pay the $90.
Right.
And he's playing. His first game was Saturday, so I
Oh,
was
that's
so
so great.
excited. And like him, a lot of other kids that can do that. Once they get the physical, we let them know if they want to do sports, this is what they can do.
Yeah.
Or we talk about the after school. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things they can do, but if it's a language barrier, they usually don't want to do it.
I know.
But they have options.
Yep. What do you think is like the biggest, are you seeing a trend of like the biggest need, and are we able to easily accommodate that or fix that need or help that obstacle?
In terms of
Like helping
sports?
family, or just in general? I know you do a lot of things, but as you're going through the day, is there like, oh, okay, this, like, is there more,
I think it's
just everywhere.
It's everything,
Everywhere.
yeah.
I would say
I
that
wouldn't
what's
say
really
there's one
important,
thing.
Yeah.
these are only two individuals.
Right.
And I think that the most important part is like, a lot of what they're talking about is also like, it comes through counselors at school. And we
Right.
have school nurses that do this.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but where like these guys have, Maria and Victoria have come through is really like, you know, we have some cases that we don't always reach. And their extra set of hands, their skill set, their varied background and experiences have only complemented the work that like vice principals do. You know, we're gonna have the athletic director come in and give an update at some point soon. And that'd be a great question because, you know, the sports participation, I can't see him having an obstacle, and whether he's calling a counselor to help get services or we're utilizing Victoria or
Right.
Maria. So I think kind of, like I said, I think they're gonna start to become really the glue with all the different folks. You know, Nikki Murphy works to, you know, get outside help and work with the collaterals in the Greater Lawrence area for support. You know, all the different people in our system.
Yeah.
But there's nothing more important than this two-way communication, and this, I think, was really the missing piece. And we can't do it alone, and that's why I just love that last slide. Together we can do that with any bridge. You know, so I'm hopeful to have these two at our leadership retreat this summer. So we also, as we've debriefed what we learned from the year, we also then make a list of, you know, what's available. Because, you know, Ms. Marks, she has her own pamphlets for families in transition, who's homeless, who needs,
Right.
you know, so there's a lot of work. But I would just say this has been a tremendous start, and I couldn't, honestly, really, so proud of you two.
I think the trust and understanding that they share with the families is really, I think that's the biggest thing that's happened. You know, as Greg said, they're able to go that extra mile that maybe our counselors, when you've got, you know, 6 kids lined up to get to you during the day,
Yeah.
can't do. They're able to further that outreach work, but what's made it successful is their personalities, their background experience, and the trust and respect that they show all of our families, so that families continue to call and then may say to another family, hey, I know this person at the school and they can help you.
Yeah.
And I think that is really the biggest piece. So.
Yeah. I don't think I have any other questions other than just like what do you need for support from us, right? Because we really value
Housing.
What you do. Housing.
There's so many families that need that, and that's one of the things that, you know, it's not easy to find.
Right.
There's a family with 2 little girls living in an addiction program in Tewksbury because they have nowhere to go here. And they can't afford the places that they do find.
Right.
And Victoria has the same problem with a lot of families she supports.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
there's
think it's coming along, like, things are getting built as this is a new position. So things are coming together. We have a background that we know where to go. We are resourceful, and then we know who to contact. At the end of the day, we'll run the whole district because we contact everybody.
Yeah.
Because we have every case in the book.
Yeah.
So, realtor, right? You name it. We know. I mean, people that want to buy a house. Oh, I know there is a down program assistance at City Hall for people that don't make much money.
Yeah.
So, low income. So, you know, we help them with that. So, anything. And
Yes,
then if
neat
we don't know
little
it,
peeps.
if we don't know it, we'll look for the answer.
Yeah.
We'll get the answer.
Well, thank you for all you're doing. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Mr. Hicks?
Ms. Petrowski asked all my questions.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're
Similar positions.
Yeah. No, I know firsthand the important work that parent liaisons do, and I think, so thank you so much. I think one of the things that even for people who grow up here, it's the American education system is really complicated and scary, and I think you're able to help. Your ability to help our families that need that is remarkable, and I think like that, like addressing the cultural differences that people experience moving into the country in terms of what schooling looks like is like so key. Like we don't even always know what we don't know yet. Like I don't know the things I'm going to need help with because I haven't experienced that, right? And you're able to bring that to the table for our parents and our kids. So thank you so very much for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for coming. This was a very eye-opening presentation for me anyway. This is amazing. I don't know if this is a question for Lorene or for you guys, but until you get the pamphlet and meet the new families, how do parents know about you?
Well, we are telling all the counselors and the nurses and the teachers to let us know, and we email them. If you need help, if you're behind or reaching a family, let us know. We were just informed that we're going to be part of the protocol for the kids that are out of school more than 2 days. We will intervene right after 2 days if the parents don't get back to the teacher. So try to minimize that issue. And from then on, you'll find out if the family needs anything just by making that phone call. Maybe the child's not sick. Maybe there's something else going on in the house. So I think that will also alert us that families are in need.
So right now, it seems like families know about you when there's an issue that gets to the counselor level or some other level.
Well, I don't know how else the parents would know, but when they have PTO meetings, the teachers that assist, that go to those meetings know about us. They're supposed to let them know. We have a Facebook page that we have friended all the North Andover groups. Without making any comments, we just share information of different schools, sports, whatever. If they have a speaker now coming, I think it's tomorrow, about kids and suicide type of thing. So we share those type of things so that people know about it. And so we keep saying who we are. Also, now with the registrations happening, they will know right from the start. And we've been all over the schools with the nurses and the counselors, so most of them, I would say most, do know who we are. So we're hoping that they can spread the word as well.
When they're learning, as teachers are learning about our position, we still find teachers that say, "Oh, I didn't know you existed."
Yeah, that's true.
So, but it's growing, and it's going to happen. We started, and then we were like, starting to build, didn't have a family here and there, but now we are picking up, we are getting busy, the word is spreading. And I think we are doing something in the community because they like us for some reason. So they see we're helping, and they are liking us.
Excellent. And then, so I know Mr. Gonsalves always sends out his weekly email in 3 languages. Do you also help translate for all the principal emails that go out weekly?
Well, yeah, I mean the ones that request, we translate, and we also do the newsletter that goes out from the principal the superintendent, the superintendent, it goes out, and then we translate those too. So anything that we can help the parents read or anything or get more information, we kind of say, hey, do you want this to be translated? Oh, yeah, sure, why not? So we are getting there.
Oh, good. And this is just an aside, Maria. My cousin's wife and children are all from Chile. And when they moved to the U.S., that was a culture shock for her. She's like, what do you mean nobody has a maid here? Not everybody has a maid.
So my mama said.
Thank you so much.
Just another piece. Part of our Rick Gallant's programs, we're looking at some more adult ed kind of programming and not just the Kids Stop and the morning programs. So one of the things that we're looking at is a program to help our non-English speaking parents learn English. And Chris Carroll, who is in charge of the world languages at the high school, she's been involved with that. Our parent liaisons are going to be a part of that program. And then Chris emailed me today looking to have, I think I talked to Greg briefly, maybe talk to the PTO presidents about having school representatives at each level come to share with the parents some information about how you navigate each school, because how you navigate the high school is very different than how you navigate ABAC. So we're really expanding, just in the months that we've had these women here, it has expanded in a lot of different ways, and some of the things that we had always sort of dreamed about being able to, they're coming to fruition. So it's pretty exciting. So.
Awesome. Just a couple of things. I think most of the committee probably already said what I was thinking, but what an amazing start. And not even starting, at the beginning of the school year, but kind of starting late and trying to build up steam and all of that stuff. Really impressive and just fantastic. I think one of the things that's really awesome to hear is just the perspective that you have as well, because you can relate so well to everything that those families are going through. And I remember as a kid, my parents and my grandparents, or my mother and my grandparents, doing some ESL work in the community, and them saying, "We were you." And, and that just resonates so much, yes, I know it's hard, but you can do it, right? We're going to be able to do this. And so I think you're absolutely proof of that. Just a couple of random questions. Do you know how many languages you're supporting? I mean, I know you said Spanish. I think I saw Portuguese. I mean, the number of languages that are present in this community are just, from my perspective, just almost shocking sometimes. I mean, I think we had
30.
Yeah, I was going to say it's 30 or something, right? Are you seeing the need for that interpretive services for all of those, or really kind of hitting a couple on a more?
Yeah, it's just a couple here and there.
Okay.
And normally when we schedule an interpreter, there's a meeting, and if we tell them, if you think that family needs support with anything else than interpreting, let us know. So we schedule the interpreting for a meeting if it's needed, if they request it. We ask them, and then if they say yes, I requested Mandarin, Urdu,
Okay.
Urdu, right? Urdu we
Oh,
have also. So we know because they kind of ask us to set those appointments and those schedule those interpreters. So that's what we do. And then we are there also. So we do schedule those here and there, but there are not many, but they
Okay.
are.
You mentioned Power School a couple times. Is it available in other languages as well for our families?
Mhm.
And are they taking advantage of it? Do you know at all? I'm just curious.
I think they do. It's just sometimes they don't always have access to an actual computer. It's either the kid's tablet or the iPad, but they don't have a centralized computer, or they
Okay.
just don't know how to use it.
Okay.
Or some of them say, my son blocked me from it, I can't get in. So I'm like, let's reset your password, save it, don't share it.
Yeah.
And we try to just teach them so they're not calling us for the same thing, every couple of weeks, but.
Those kids are learning the American way,
Oh,
right?
yes, they know.
Mr. McDevitt, I would just say that, we do have a computer for registration out front, and it's not just families who English is their second language or, do not know English just yet. There's a lot of folks, probably if I was registering, I would need their help, and they're out there at the computer helping.
Yeah.
I loved hearing, again, thank you so much for working with the nurses and the partnership and those medical things, whether it's appointments and things. And I think your point's really valid, that you're calling from the school, and maybe that helps to get that child in earlier. Not even something that I really thought that much about, but of course they're going to need to establish those levels of care in the community as well. I loved hearing you just talk a little bit about the Knight's Closet. That's been something that has been really, near and dear to my heart for a long time. I'm curious if you're hearing or seeing that need at other levels as well, at the
Yes,
elementary. Okay.
Elementary, we are getting a lot of needs for elementary.
Yes.
Because the closet has only let's say from middle schools to maybe high schoolers, but there
Okay.
is nothing below there.
Okay.
So that's the things that we had to look for other agencies and see where we can get those supplies.
Okay. I loved hearing you talk a little bit about community programs and some of those that are available, especially, for adults as well. There's one thing that caught me a little bit off guard that I don't know what we're doing, and maybe we're not doing anything, and if we're not, then we should be looking to start. But you mentioned that we have some students who are kind of on their own, and I'm curious what, if anything, we can do from a food perspective, kind of over the weekend.
We've got that. I'm thinking of one case in particular that Victoria and I have talked a lot about. It's a girl who's of age, so she is considered an adult, but she's still a student, we hope. So that's one part of what we're working on. I don't want to get into a lot of details, but we do have options. We know what is available in the community in terms of getting her food, and that was one of the first things that we did when we met. We've talked to Erica. Some of those options are more limited because there's so many regulations, like in terms of additional food, not food during the school day.
Right.
But we do know where we can access all of that and have done that when we needed to.
Okay. I'd be curious to see if there are grants for that as well.
Yeah,
I know Erica
I am
probably
not
applies
aware
for
of
everything,
anything,
but,
yeah.
I mean, I think that's got to be food insecurity.
Yeah.
Is certainly prevalent, although we don't always like to talk about it. But I mean, if students are going home and they're not getting food on the weekends,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's really important. So, I mean, again, I think you guys are really being part of that full cycle of, connecting, even the sports and the community and all of those things together. So thank you very much. I know, I don't know anyone personally who has used you guys, but I know, from talking with Dr. Gilligan, the amazing work you do. So thank you on behalf of the community.
Mr. McDevitt,
Yes, sorry.
a follow-up question, as you were talking about it, and as they've been all over the district. Are we providing mileage or something? Because these two are traveling all over the place, right? So is that mileage reimbursement or something like that, Ms. Marks?
That is not something we've done, so I would have to say no at this point.
I was
It seems
actually
like it
wondering
might be
the same.
important as we go forward and as we figure out, where their work is being done.
Okay.
Thanks, Helen.
I think we'll have to look into that, though.
Yep.
I
Good
wondered
point.
the same thing, Helen, and then I forgot to ask, so thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
So I did tell them they don't have to stay the whole evening. So thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have been staying on time, and I just have a few other things to add. And I think I looked over. I think Mr. McDevitt has something about the Scarlet and Black Singers, so I won't steal that
Okay, all right,
thunder.
thanks. The students steal it, but
Yeah, I know they
you,
do.
it's different.
Yeah. I just want to say, the other night we had kindergarten information night. It was really well attended. It was an opportunity to talk about registration. It was talk about the ability to talk about, safety, health, academics, transportation, all the different things. So really thrilled to have that the other night. I think it was our first time back in person doing that, which was really amazing.
I also did talk to Tiffany because it had been done virtually before. So I asked her if she could just refine that, because some of what she did when she presented virtually is not appropriate now. But for parents who couldn't make it, we're going to get something up on her website so that there'll be something there for them as well. And the women were there on information night as well to help support that.
Yeah, the other day, I got to tell you, I don't get teary-eyed often, but I'm at the high school for the Abigail and John Adams Scholarship Day for the folks who, students who had the MCAS scores that will give them a discount on their tuition if they attend a Massachusetts state college. And to have families back in the cafeteria with their students, to be recognized. I got to credit Erica Murphy, put on a tremendous breakfast as she always does. I found myself hanging around a little bit after for some more yogurt and granola, and it's pretty healthy, I think, for me. But it was remarkable. And, I know a lot of the students who I had. I think this is the last year I have students where I was principal at the Thompson School. I think they're seniors now. And their faces look the same. They're just 6'1". But it was really awesome. And it was the first time I had met Ethan in person. I always see them on the screen, and I got to hand them out. So I got to hand out all the awards, as the names were called, and it was just it was an awesome event, and it just really reminded me that we're doing some things that we haven't done in a while, and that was certainly one of them. I know Mr. McDevitt's going to talk a little bit about the Scarlet and Black Singers, but they did do it at Mechanics Hall. And if you've never been to Mechanics Hall in Worcester, as a principal once, we took the whole school there for a play. Can't remember what the play was, but it was a long time ago. But I mean, it's famous. The acoustics are amazing there, and folks like Ella Fitzgerald, Yo-Yo Ma, Mel Torme. I mean, you could probably go to Wikipedia or Google it or something. I mean, it's really a tremendous place. So that was really cool. And just
Dr. Gilligan?
Yep.
The John and Abigail Adams Scholarship, that used to be tuition for the public schools in Massachusetts, which at the time was like $600 or $800, and then fees was thousands and thousands. But I know that they adjusted that. What does the John and Abigail Adams scholarship pay now? What does that cover for students?
So I could find out the specifics to the best of my knowledge at this time. I think it actually depends on the score. I think it's it might be a flat rate, but
It's a flat rate.
it's a flat rate for everyone. Okay, it was a little different this year because MCAS was off and we didn't have MCAS, so the state talked about it a little bit. And to your point, Helen, you're 100% correct. The tuition at UMass and any of our state institutions, it might be $100 a credit for a 3-credit course, but then
It's
it might
more
be.
than that.
No, they changed that.
No. Pam, I'm exaggerating, but there's a punchline here.
Kidding.
Pam, there's a punchline here. The punchline is that, each credit has then a $1,000 fee per credit. So, and it's always been that way. So
Well, they changed that formula some years ago. So it went from $800 in tuition and thousands of dollars in fees to actually several $1,000s in tuition. But then they changed the scholarship, and the scholarship stayed at $800 towards tuition or something like that. So I know it's been evolving, so I'm interested in that. But that's fine if you don't have it. I can look it up. But I would also just mention for those families that their students may not have qualified for the Abigail and John Adams. There is also the Colpick Scholarship, which is I'm going to call it a second chance scholarship. That families need to apply for, but has a GPA and has sports and activities involved. So I would encourage families to look into the Colpick Scholarship as well, which will also pay for part of the tuition at public schools.
Yeah, and I know that the high school, particularly Meg Pinkston, who took over for Steve Nugent this year, has been doing an amazing job. I know they have a whole push on all the scholarships. But we can get that specific information. It appears Dr. Mealy already has. And we may or may not have a member sitting in this room who has a son that won the scholarship. I don't want, if you're uncomfortable talking about it.
Well, it's not Joe, so. So I can, there is a one-pager, Helen, which I will get to you. I'll also scan it. Perhaps Dr. Gilligan can post it out. It is, and Dr. Mealy has it posted there. It does vary a little bit by what the school is. So if I'm reading that correctly, it looks like UMass Amherst is roughly $1,700, and then it kind of moves from there. But includes Framingham State and Salem State and lots of different schools within the Commonwealth. I could be wrong. I'm going to say it's probably 40 to 50 different schools, but I'll scan that document and I'll send it over to you. The other thing that I'd say is it used to be there was a percentage of students who, if they took the MCAS, if they scored in a certain percentile, and I don't know, you guys might know, in the English and the math, they were awarded the scholarship. This year, not all of the students took it. And so they did something different in how they established what that criteria was. I think North Andover gave out 50 of them. but I could be wrong on that number. I think I remember Mr. Jackson saying 50 were awarded.
50, yep.
So I don't know if there was a percentage per class, or every school got a minimum, or I don't know what that calculation was, but there were 50 students who at
It
least
used to
got
be the top something percent
Yeah.
of
They had to go back
each
and take
school.
But again,
So
not
that-
all the students took it. So
Right.
they changed it this year. I don't know what they'll do.
Well, thank you for that update, because, you know, it is us and our students that we get to celebrate this, so it's important to know what it is we're talking about, I feel.
Yeah, and for me, it was really, I didn't come in with the specifics, Helen, but I do want to say that it was tremendous to celebrate the academic achievement. Tremendous breakfast put on by our staff that works with Jim, Erica Murphy. And it was awesome to see the smile on parents' faces, get pictures with the superintendent. A few people wanted that, not many, more parents than the kids. And, group pictures. It was just, it was a blast. Just a couple other things, and I'm just going to run through them real quick. Lindsay did mention the Model UN, and I think that was really cool. It was at UMass Lowell. Paul Mayette runs that group, and they were named the delegations, the best group in the delegation. And NAPRIN is on for tomorrow night, the North Andover Parent Resource Network. Lisa Roberts, she promotes it. We promote it. It's on my Twitter. It's we pump that out, and that is on. That tomorrow night is the Teen and Tween Dating 101, a parent's guide, and that's Wednesday, April 13th, 7th and 8:30 at the middle school. And if you go to naparentsresourcenetwork.org, it's free, and you can RSVP there. And then last but not least, check out the Stevens Memorial Library. We partner with them. Lorene was talking about North Andover Reads last time, but they're putting on a personal finance course for folks 17 to 30. So it's not just our age kids, but if you're at home and you're listening, I'm not sure many are tonight, but they could be. 17 to 30-year-olds at the Stevens Memorial Library. Kathleen Keenan does an amazing job, and that would conclude the superintendent's report tonight.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Gilligan. You did steal the teen dating thing from me, but that's okay. Tomorrow, which you mentioned that, right?
The Teen and Tween. Yeah.
Teen and Tween, yes. Okay, you looked at me like surprised. So there's also tomorrow is the Mito Classic, the street hockey tournament, which I believe, I could be wrong, is at the U Center. Do you know, Holly? I think so. I think it's at the U Center. And that is tomorrow. The other thing that I wanted to just kind of highlight here as well is, and the students mentioned it a little bit, but I didn't get the opportunity to see it. I did see some video clips of some of the performances that were done. But I think, when we talk about kind of coming back to normal and seeing things, there's the music and the whether it's singing and or performing an instrument, so many of these kids really just didn't have the opportunity to do that very well over the past 2 years. I think some of them were singing in mass, quite difficult to do, and playing of the instruments definitely hard. But I really just want to take a minute and congratulate Sarah Durkin and Justin Smalley for their accomplishments with the students. And I say this every year, I feel like, okay, we've hit it. We must have hit the max in terms of what we're going to do. And the next year, it's like, they're like, okay, we're going for more awards. And they don't just go for them, they win them. So they're absolutely fantastic. But this past weekend, I hope I say this correctly, they had the MICA, which stands for the Massachusetts Instrumental and Choral Conductors Association Choral Festival. It's kind of a mouthful. Treble choir and concert choir both received silver medals. The Scarlet and Black singers received gold medal and the opportunity again to perform at Mechanics Hall in Worcester. They won AAA award on that. And at World Strides in Boston, here's a lengthy list, but the Symphonic Band and Wind Ensemble earned silver medals. The Treble Choir, the Scarlet and Black Singers concert choirs all earned gold medals. The Educator Award for the concert choir earning an average score of over 95 out of 100. The sweepstakes for band program, which is the highest scoring band program at the festival. The sweepstakes for choral program, highest scoring choral program at the festival. Sweepstakes for total program, which is the highest scoring music program at the festival. And the Maestro Award for individual performances by Luke Ralph at the band and Andrew Buchanan, who was the piano accompaniment for choir. So amazing and fantastic job for all of those students, and hopefully we'll be able to see them live on our stage shortly as well. So great job for all of them. All right, so fun and excitement. The next thing we have is a vacancy. So there is no vice chair currently with the committee. And so normally we would do committee reorganization at the last scheduled meeting in June. But in the point of an absent member, we would just open up nominations for the vice committee position. So I would entertain any nominations if there are any.
Mr. McDevitt, I'd like to nominate Ms. Petrowski for vice chair.
All right, so Mr. Hicks made the nomination for Ms. Petrowski. Is there a second?
Second.
Was that you, Helen? I'm sorry.
Yes, that was
Okay.
Ms. Picard.
Okay. All right. Will you accept the nomination if?
I will accept, yes.
Okay, all right. Are there other nominations? Okay. Any discussion? All right, we'll call a roll call vote. Ms. Picard?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Ms. Vitsky?
Yes.
I'm going to vote yes, and just in case there's a tiebreaker, I was going to save you for the end. Ms. Petrowski?
So I vote for myself?
You can vote for yourself, yes.
Yes,
You can
sure.
abstain if you want,
know,
but
yeah.
it's 4-0 at this point, so. All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, which now means we have another vacancy, vacancy for the clerk position. So I would entertain any nominations for clerk.
Mr. McDevitt, I would nominate Mr. Hicks for clerk.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Picard. All right, Mr. Hicks, if accepted, would you take the nomination?
Yes.
Okay. Any other nominations? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll do roll call. Ms. Picard?
Yes.
Ms. Vitsky?
Yes.
Ms. Petrowski?
Yes.
I'll vote yes again, and you can...
Yes.
Okay, all
I don't
right.
vote for myself.
Congratulations.
Exactly.
All right, 5-0, so we're back to a full suite here. Excellent, okay. So I'm not sure it's in the printed packet here, unless I missed it somehow. So Dr. Milley, can you present it, unless?
It is here.
Is it on the back of something?
It's on the back of the last
The
health
last health.
report.
I thought I saw it, and then
It's on the back of the last one, yeah.
there it is. Okay, I can see it through the paper there. Perfect. I knew I saw it, and then I looked, and I couldn't see it. Okay. Okay, so we definitely have a couple of openings here in terms of PTO presidents and policy as well. We've always had the Hall of Fame be the school committee vice chair. So that, by default, would be Ms. Petrowski.
Ms. Petrowski, I did that in the recent past, so if I can be helpful, you can let me know.
Thank you. I will be contacting you.
Yeah, that's actually one of the very fun ones.
Yeah, for sure.
And Mr. McDevitt, just last meeting, one of you asked about the PTO presidents. At my next meeting at the end of April, someone had asked, would they have the possibility to vary the time? I'm not sure if they will or they won't. It's their meeting, but I just wanted to mention I will check in with them when we get them all in the same room.
Okay. All right, so I know Mr. Hicks asked about the current status for negotiations. Those were really there kind of in case of MOAs, MOUs that were there. So other changes, movement to any of those that people are interested in, and then we'll fill some vacancies here. Any movement requests, I guess? All right, hearing none, seeing none. So policy would be Ms. Petrowski, and then we had Mrs. Mably. So a lot of this is working with the Massachusetts School Committee Association, and then as well as Town Council Attorney Egan regarding any policy changes that kind of come into play for that. So I don't know if anyone has any particular interest in that.
I'd be happy to do that, sir.
Okay. All right. So we'll put Mr. Hicks in.
Did I miss my opportunity to request to be on the diversity committee?
Requesting is always awesome. Yeah, I would happily swap you the diversity committee. That's no problem at all. Okay.
And Ms. Marks works on that as well, Mr. Hicks, so I'm sure she'd be helpful as orienting.
School building committees, we are still working through a couple of different things. Some of those, I think I've mentioned in the past, are dictated by town charter. Some are appointed by town moderator, as well as school committee. So we're working through some of those. We're trying to set up a meeting with town moderator Mark DeSalvo, Suzanne Egan, Jim Mealy, and Melissa Murphy Rodriguez as well. So that will be coming in the near future. And then what else do we have here? PTO presidents.
I can do that one.
You think you can? Okay. So that may make it easier.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
terms of accommodating schedules.
Yeah, I suspect, interestingly enough, you know, as a principal, we used to do them at night, but a lot of the parents actually wanted to do them in the day because we had a lot of second shift workers, but we also had folks with kids in school. But this group here, it seems like they've got accustomed to that slot in the morning. It seems to work for them, but we can certainly check.
Okay.
But it is the president, so it's
You
not
don't have to check. I can
Okay.
do it. If I have enough notice, I won't schedule meetings during that time.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not actually inclusive of the whole PTO. It's the PTO presidents. And I got to tell you, it's a lot of people. I think there's like tri-presidents at every.
Are they virtual or are they?
We're in person,
You're in person.
and we do have usually 4 or 5 on the screen.
Okay.
It's a mix.
So that can be helpful as well. Okay. All right. Any other vacancies that are here? Anything that Mr. Hicks, you're dying to jump into? I know you jumped into policy and town diversity.
Ms. Vici, if taking on the presidents is a lot, I'd be happy to do the CPAC liaison, but I also don't want to take it from you if you're very passionate about it. Just an offer.
I do like the CPAC
Perfect.
one, so thank you.
And I would say that the
Yeah.
policy one is a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work with the council.
You ready, Joe?
But you're welcome to attend. You can also always
Oh, yeah.
attend the CPAC
Yeah.
meetings.
I would also say that though one of us is an official liaison to these groups, it's possible for a second committee member to attend some events, but we should check in with each other. I have often attended the CPAC meetings with Ms. Vitsky, but if Mr. Hicks wanted to do some of that, if we just check in with each other, so long as there's only 2 of us in any one of these, it should be fine. I've been doing BRC for a really long time, so if anybody ever wanted to jump in there, there's room for at least 2 of us in most of these places.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion too?
Sure.
That if anybody is interested in doing the negotiations, I think Helen is for all 3 groups. We probably shouldn't wait until the actual negotiations because there are things that come up that might require MOAs to be negotiated. So if somebody is going to be that person, it would be a good way to become familiar with those groups prior to negotiations.
Okay. I think at this point, I mean, I wasn't thinking we were changing that. That's certainly possible. Thoughts?
I have been off negotiations for a while, so I'm happy to step back on one of them. It's my turn again. So.
I was going to say
I
something.
wonder if, I think that it's likely that some members of this committee will be serving on the school building committees. And so we might want to look at this list of liaisons again as those things come up. I don't think that we vote on this. I think we all just agree on it.
Yeah.
So, if people find themselves busy or less busy or interested, we can always come back and revisit this.
And again, I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, it's really there as a guide for us. If something comes up and you can't make a meeting, usually we're pretty good about being able to jump in. So,
Just like David, I think with just on the negotiations one, I'm not sure we ever switched those until the end of the school year, but I can't remember because we've had so many MOAs and contracts over the last couple of years with COVID. But
I didn't mean to curveball. I wasn't suggesting a change tonight. It was kind of just planting the seed that if somebody's interested, they should come forward.
okay. All right. So again, this is not, anything that we vote on. I think we've got things. How about we just have Michelle just kind of make the changes, update them, and then that way she'll just email them up to us and bring them up in another meeting or so. But I think we've got everything kind of covered with this stuff. Alrighty. Perfect. I don't know why I lost my page there. Now I've lost my agenda. Okay. So we will go over to you, Dr. Maley, for the School Capacity Project Facilities Master Plan 2, please.
Okay, attached or linked to the agenda is the link to the call-in show that we had last week. It's from the Select Board, Dr. Gilligan, Melissa Rodriguez, the Town Manager, and myself. We didn't have to field a lot of questions. We had the opportunity to present. And Cam, we were on Cam Live. We did.
Click on it, Jim, and just show
to the link.
Yeah. It's on our front page. It's on my pinned tweet up, and it's on the front page in featured news for us. But it answers a lot of questions.
You can tell a lot by your search history, by the other YouTube videos that are up there.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you click on that, you'll be able to watch, and there's a lot of great information in there. So now Jim's going to go back to the presentation. I just wanted the folks to see it, Jim, but it's also on our website besides the agenda.
And at some point, will you do your Taylor Swift sing-along?
Not me.
All right.
All right, so we didn't get a lot of questions, as I said. Shocker of all shockers, Stan Lippert did give us some questions, which were very good questions. Gave us the opportunity to address those. But what I thought tonight for the Facilities Master Plan 2 update is I've pulled slides from the many presentations we've given, whether it's to school committee, the many public forums we had. We did do the presentation before the questions were answered. But I pulled the slides that I thought were key for this coming town meeting, specific to the middle school and Kittredge especially. So we've gone over the recommended order of projects, and I've highlighted the first 4 projects. The middle school and Kittredge are getting voted on May 17th, and then following that will be the fire station and the Franklin Gymnasium. And there's potential for additional work. There's the question, and I don't want people to think that these 2 are combined. They're not connected in the sense that the Facilities Master Plan 2 is independent of the Royal Crest Development Project. They're not connected, other than the fact that if that project does happen and there's the development agreement that has been negotiated, if that goes into effect, there's funds that may make it possible to do some additional work before we would have otherwise, especially at Franklin. So again, the first 4 projects are being funded without an additional tax increase. And that's important. And not just for, and this is on another slide, but not just for the coming year, FY23, but there's no impact in the future on the tax rate from these first 4 projects. The money is already available, and it's through capacity within the limit. You can see for the middle school, it's because we got the MSBA approval, about 50% of that project is going to be paid from them, and then capacity within the levy for us. Same with the fire station and then the gymnasium. So there's no impact, as you can see from this slide, not just for the next 5 years, but from these projects for any future years. And what is next for Facilities Master Plan 2? It's that town meeting will have a vote, and while this is a complete plan that involves all of our schools that need renovations and additions and the town projects that need to be done, each town meeting, the projects are independent at each town meeting. So we're voting on only the Kittredge and the middle school projects and only the design this coming year. Construction costs will be voted on at a subsequent year. And each project is independent of each other in that regard.
So, Dr. Mealy, I think that's one thing that was really highlighted in the show is, simply put, people are going on the Facilities Master Plan 2 to vote for the design of the Kittredge and the design of the middle school. And that's it. And every year is mutually exclusive, although part of a bigger plan. And I just wanted to reiterate it because we say it quite a bit, and it's always nice to.
Thank you, because I don't think it can be emphasized enough.
I don't either.
Yep. And just a reminder, what these projects are trying to accomplish for us, as you can see, 3 main areas of the building conditions need to be addressed. These are our older schools. We need to address code and ADA requirements, and we are finally going to be able to eliminate the aged portable classrooms that we still have in use. Gives us the ability for educational delivery, ensuring equity among our elementary students, but also providing the support spaces that they need, as well as 21st century learning space, and it allows us to impact class size going forward. And then the enrollment projections, building capacity for future growth, and it's interesting because this has come up a lot, again, going back to the Royal Crest development. We don't think it's appropriate for us to take a position on the development, but we've been asked a lot in the last few weeks about enrollment projections and what impact that development could have on the schools. And what we've tried to assure people is that we have taken that into account when we have done these enrollment projections and made our recommendations regarding the projects. There are other reasons that you can be for or against that development, but it shouldn't be because you're concerned about the additional students that might go to that development, because we have factored that in and included it in our capacity for many years to come. And so the 2 projects we've talked about, the middle school project, we're going to renovate both the interior and exterior, upgrade all of those systems that are there, add some classrooms, especially science labs, and support spaces. And we're going to do this in a phased construction. And big question that Mr. McDevitt and Dr. Gilligan can attest to, we got every single public forum, how are you going to do this and still have school? And it's through, I mean, as Dr. Gilligan will say, the safety and education of our students is critical, and so it's in a phased approach. And what will happen in each project, and this is the middle school as an example, if we do build additional classrooms in the existing courtyard, that would be done first. So you would create the new space first, and that allows you then to move from an old space into a new space, so you're still kind of in the same size building until it's done. As you do that, you renovate and then move from an older part into the renovated part until you're done, and now you've got the larger space that you needed. But you can do that and keep educating the students and do it safely.
And Jim, I reiterate any chance I get. I mean, so my first year on the job, we had a lot of site work left at the ABECC, and we had to start school. I mean, parents were working. We hit the gas explosions. It was really quite a bit in that first period, and we didn't finish up the site work around the building till December 1st. But I remember dealing with the trucks and the safety and Number one is the safety of our students, staff, and families. And then number two is we don't want anything to interrupt or interfere with the ability to deliver an excellent education. And so, the projects like at the middle school, where they have to seal off a wing. I think you've heard the consultants say sometimes that takes a little bit extra time, and it does as part of the timeline. Whereas building a new Kittredge is a lot like building a new Thompson or building a new high school, where they build it next to it, and they can get a lot more done more quickly, I would say, even though they're bigger projects, and then they move in. So.
Thank you. And then the second project, Kittredge, we're building a new school on the same site, utilizing the existing gym and probably the 4 existing classrooms, as you can see here. In blue are the modular classrooms that were built in 2010 in the gym in 2013. What I want to emphasize, and we talked about this on the call-in show, is that this is an initial design. This is not the final design. It's a concept. And one of the things we learned from the Bradstreet is to make sure that we get the input of all stakeholders, parents, staff, to incorporate into the design and make sure that we have the best product available. And so that will happen, and it might not look anything like this. It could be switched, but this is just the initial concept of what could happen. And as you can see again, phasing, we'd be able to continue school in the existing building, including the modular in the gym, and build new space. And then that would allow us then to demolish the existing school. You can see number 2 there, kind of outlined in broken line, and then renovate whatever would be necessary in the other spaces, if anything, in the blue. And then the what you see as purple, the number 4, would be new space as well, for a new entrance to that building. But again, that's the concept. That's it.
Questions for Dr. Mealy? Ms. Picard, I'm seeing none kind of coming from the room here. The one thing that I would just say, I know that you mentioned, getting a lot of input, and I was thinking back to a project that I did at work that was working to design a children's wing of a hospital. And some of the coolest feedback actually came from the patients, right? And so, I would absolutely make sure, that we're including students as well. I don't know, some of those students will probably not be there, but, they will have a very different eye than I think we will as adults. And I think that their input is just as valuable.
Absolutely.
So,
yep.
All right, Ms. Picard?
Yes, Mr. McDevitt. I wondered if there's any benefit or any plan to have any public opportunities to walk through the buildings that we're talking about voting to support in this budget. Like, is there any benefit for people to walk through Kittredge to understand why it is that we're replacing it? I know it doesn't need an override. There's no increase to the tax base, but I wonder if that would be helpful for people to know what they're voting for on May 17th and to be motivated to come and do that vote, either at Kittredge or at the middle school.
Well, we certainly included the building assessments have been available, pictures in all of the presentations. We've made that offer that if anybody wants to see the building, we would certainly allow them to access and walk through with them and answer any questions they may have. No one has taken us up on that offer, but it's still out there.
Okay, but we won't have any specific night, like this is the night to come see Troubles at Kittredge. I know that's kind of problematic too,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Nothing planned yet right now, but good idea. Anything else?
Just more of a comment, I guess. I'm really excited about these projects. I think it's really great. I'm excited for town meeting, and I encourage everyone to be there to vote for the construction, the design parts. And I think it's really important that I understand what you mean, Dr. Mealy, that this those are different votes than Royal Crest, but we also need to acknowledge that that will impact our ability to do these other projects down the line, and we should consider that the positive impact that that could also have on our schools. And that's important that we take into account as well.
Yep. Nope, agreed. Good point. All right, anything else? All right, Dr. Mealy, old business here. The fiscal year 23 revolving budget accounts. Going to present, or? Okay, sorry.
No problem. So, we presented at the last meeting. Nothing has changed other than a correction we had to make to the spreadsheet where we had a number in black, that was actually an expense as part of the non-residential special education fund. That's been corrected, and then everything else remains the same as originally presented. And just a reminder, we're thinking we're back to mostly normal for especially community programs and food services. So food services had been seeing a large increase in their balance because of all the meals they had been doing over the last couple of years. Community programs had seen a decline in participation, not surprisingly, so their revenues have been down, but we expect both to be more normal for next year.
Okay. Awesome. So I would entertain a motion to approve the revolving account budgets for fiscal year 23 as presented in the packet.
So moved.
I'm going to go with Ms. Petrowski. Sorry, Ms. Picard. Do you want to do
That's
a
all right,
second
I'll
there?
second.
All right, okay. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, seeing none. We'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Picard?
Yes.
Ms. Petrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Ms. Vitsky?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, 5-0. Revolving accounts are approved. And we're going to jump over to new business, which is the first reading and a request to suspend the rules. Is this, so it is printed in the packet? Dr. Mealy?
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to present as well.
Okay. So it's probably just a timing issue in order to get it printed in the packet to say whether or not the school committee recommends favorable action or not on it.
As Jim's clicking on it, I would say this is something that comes in front of you every year.
Yep.
Something that's voted on every year at town meeting. And
So I can explain it. Do you want to explain it? It's pretty self-explanatory.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So town meeting has to give the town and the school in particular the authority to enter into contracts for terms exceeding 3 years. There aren't many that I can think of that we do. The transportation one, it's the only one that comes to mind. And that actually we'll be negotiating that this coming year, so this is pertinent. But basically it has to be approved each town meeting for the school committee to have that authority.
And I think what we've done in the past is we've had 3-year contracts with an option for a
And the
4.
transportation has been for 2-year options.
2-year options,
Each
okay.
individually approved.
Okay. Okay. I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules to vote on Article 2 as presented in the packet.
So moved.
Okay, so to suspend the rules,
Do I have to say the whole thing?
no.
Okay.
To Ms. Petrowski, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Hicks, okay. Any discussion on suspending the rules?
Mr. McDevitt, I would just say that probably it would be good, since we do this every year, and I think we suspend the rules most years, that we probably should put this on our agenda to do in, late March.
Yeah.
Perhaps
I think it's
I
not,
just lost the name.
Yeah, I think some years we have got it in time, but this is something that we receive.
The challenge is that
It's from
this year it happens to be this one that we do every year, but other years there are others. And so we wait until we know which ones, and it happens to be that we just found out that this is the only one this year.
yeah, and I think
Okay.
we wait for the warrant to be compiled, if that's the right word, by
Yeah,
the
we have
select
the
board.
warrant meeting, right? The chair has the warrant meeting with the chair of the select board and the,
Correct. Yep.
So, well, it just something to consider if we can get it on our agenda, but it's fine. I mean, we can suspend the rules. It's all right.
Okay. All right, so a motion to suspend the rules, not voting on the motion itself, but just the suspension of the rules. Any further discussion? All right, virtually, Ms. Picard,
Yes.
Ms. Petrowski,
Yes.
Mr. Hicks,
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
Vitsky, and the chair votes yes. Okay, so we'll suspend the rules, and now I would entertain a motion to authorize the town manager or the superintendent of schools regarding contracts in excess of 3 years as presented in the packet.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Hicks.
Second.
And a second by Ms. Petrowski. All right, any additional discussion?
So we're not actually moving the article. We're just moving favorable action on the article.
Recommending
Favorable,
action.
right.
Yes.
Recommending favorable
Recommending
action.
favorable action or unfavorable. Okay,
Well, right now the motion though is for favorable action, right?
the motion would be for favorable, correct. Okay. Any additional discussion? All right, Ms. Picard,
Yes.
Ms. Petrowski,
Yes.
Mr. Hicks.
Yes.
Ms. Vitsky.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, 5-0. All right. We will recommend favorable action on Article 2 on May 17th. Okay, public comment. Any public comment?
On anything or?
Anything?
Anything.
So, yeah, I'd like to make a request for information.
Yep, so you can come up to the microphone, please state your name and your address.
Sure. My name is Francis Murphy. I live on Great Pond, 808 Great Pond Road. I wanted to look for transparency on a topic that has appeared in the news lately, and if you've already addressed this, please point me to where I can just get the information that might be evident.
Okay.
So I'm looking for an understanding on the guidance that the school committee is providing relative to the topic that you've seen in the news in Florida, relative to K through 3 education topics. I was wondering, how is North Andover had to address this or dealt with a question on this? Any transparency or pointed documentation on that topic? Would love to hear where I could go get that information.
Okay, so we don't really kind of get into the debate of the presentation of that, but at the end of the meeting, if I could just get an email address or phone number, then we can get that information back to you. I won't have you say it now because we're live on camera
Not a problem.
and everybody's watching. So,
That's unfortunate, but
that's very fortunate. Is that okay?
yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Any? Well, there's no other public, but any comments from the committee? We'll start with our new vice chair. Anything? No?
It's almost April vacation, so
Okay.
I hope everybody has a great break.
All right. Mr. Hicks?
No.
Ms. Vitsky?
No comments.
Ms. Ricard?
Yes, I would just remind everybody that the Educator Hall of Fame nominations are due on April 30th. So if anybody watching or anybody in the room is part of the North Andover Moms or the North Andover Dads or the North Andover Forum or any of the other many social media accounts, and if our superintendent can put it out again on Twitter, that would be so great. The North Andover Educator Hall of Fame applications are due on the 30th of April, and the candidates can be living or deceased. They must be retired from full-time teaching or administration for the North Andover Public Schools at least 5 years retired and have spent the majority of their career in North Andover. There are other pieces of information. They're on the school committee page. I believe that we had some nominees that were not selected in prior years that we were looking for a little bit more information on. So if anybody nominated in a prior year and has more information to share about those candidates, that would be marvelous. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Ms. Picard.
Burn. All right. So wish everyone a wonderful April break. And at least on mine, it is cut off. It could just be the way it's printed. But our next meeting, if I have my memory correct, is April 28th. So back on a Thursday night pattern. So, and with that, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So motion made by Mr. Hicks. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Petrowski. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. We'll go virtually. Ms. Picard.
Yes.
Ms. Petrowski.
Yes.
Mr. Hicks.
Yes.
Ms. Vitsky.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. We are 5-0. We are adjourned at, looks like 8:48.